Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well today. We are so back. We have round 6 of the NSP SMX, I guess we'll call it, championship. Created by Aiden. We have taken a 3-week break during the real SMX series, just so we didn't get burnt out. And as Will Smith would say, welcome to Miami. We are back with that slightly orangey twinge of soil, same as last year's DDC tracks. There was a Miami round which followed the same sort of concept, and we are back to going outside of the stadium this week. Just a short little back and forth, but I'm hoping it should be an exciting one here. So Aiden has said to me, this week's track has a few more quads than usual. So I'll try my very best to see if I can do any of them. Although, bear in mind, I am riding the KTM today, disguised as a Ducati, but KTM, which as we know is a little bit of a struggle sometimes to hit the big boy lines, so it might be more for those Yamaha Fantics. I'm very excited to get back into this series. I've missed it over the period of the last month or so, so I'm going to spin some laps, showcase it for you, and hopefully get all of you itching and raring to go for the race later tonight. Rightio, so let's see how this goes. I'm hoping there's not any more microphone issues today. If there is, I will try my very best to fix them, but I apologise again. Let me know if it sounds okay or if it's a bit iffy again. As of my last video, it sounded like towards the end of my sentences where your voice naturally tails off and you get a bit quieter as you finish your sentence, the microphone wasn't picking it up too well. And I don't know if that was because the microphone was too far away. I've got it a lot closer today, you can see on the camera right here. Or if you remember the last stream that I'd done, my power went out halfway. Well, I say my power went out. My PC shut off, basically, and my Wi-Fi shut off, but every other light in the entire house stayed on, so I don't know how that works. Hopefully that never happens again. But I had issues with my mic once I turned my PC back on. It kind of all factory reset, and I've got I don't know, it's called a Focusrite. It's just like there's something else that my microphone plugs into before it plugs into my PC, and it's got like dials and buttons and all sorts on it, and I can't remember what settings I had on it, but the buttons are like toggle on and off, and they light up when they're on, they turn off when they're off. When my power cut out, it turned everything off again by default, and I cannot for the life of me remember what ones I had on or off, so that could have something to do with it as well. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that it just putting the microphone a bit closer today will be a little bit better, and we'll go from there. So we are back at Miami. To the best of my knowledge, last year's Miami track I think was the pre-season round, and I believe it's probably one of the most played of all of the DDC/NSP tracks that were ever made. I think last year's tracks were quite popular anyway because the tracks ended up going on to MXB Ranked after a while. These ones were meant to be going up on a weekly basis. I don't know if that's still the case, but to the best of my knowledge, I think the number of people that play Ranked on a daily basis now seems to have fallen off for whatever reason. I don't know why. They have weekly track rotations. It's not something that I'm too keen on anymore. Just the general way that it's played doesn't really vibe with me. I mean, I like having a good level of integrity in this game, everyone being on an even playing field. It seems like for the most part these days, whenever new tracks get added, it's a case of who can get away with cutting the track the most while still having their lap times count, which I mean I guess is a skill in its own right, trying to find all the places you can and you can't get away with cheating. But for me, not my idea of fun, so I stay in my lane. I try and stick to the competitive side of things. But we have a long break now. I don't know what's next for me in the competitive scene. I did get, I can't leak the track lists and such, but I've obviously you know Motocross the game is meant to be coming out next year. I think it's next year now at this point. I think they delayed it a bit, but there's always that question of, is Ariel going to continue next year? And I have had confirmation that the MX Bikes GPs are going to continue next year, and you will all be very happy to know, because I think everybody was in agreement that the GP tracks we had this year created by B-Clay were really good fun, and he's going to be creating next year's one as well, which I'm certainly happy about. Now, this is where this little dilemma comes into play. He asked me if I want to commentate it again, and I said that is a really hard decision to make, because I had so much fun commentating the GPs this year, but then at the same time, because the tracks looked so fun, I also regretted not being able to play them myself. So I don't know where I stand there, really. I'm very curious to know your guys' thoughts. Would you... I mean, I feel like the general consensus is people would prefer to watch me. But then at the same time, would you rather watch me wobbling around in, like, P4 to 8th-ish on a weekly basis, rather than me being able to get in the commentary booth and spectate all the fast boys and watch all the different battles going on the track? But let me know. I'm very curious. Put your thoughts down in the comments and I'll have a read through and see what everybody thinks. But to move away from that now, I need to try and focus on this track a little bit, because I am wobbling around the track, and again, I think it's just the KTM for me in a Supercross setting doesn't suit me too well. I definitely vibe with the blue machine or the white machine a little bit more. So let me try and lock in just a little bit. We've got some slight turn-in rollers here that the 450s will definitely have a bit of a struggle with. Then you've got this like weird 270-degree turn that circles all the way back and over this loop, and you kind of have to apex it at a strange point. And this split section here is also quite unique. So if you go tight to the inside, you end up hitting this jump here at a strange angle where you can only really double in. But if we cut all the way back over here and we go to the outside of the corner, you basically end up squaring it off and then cutting in a straight line this way. So I imagine there's people going to be going across the front of you, taking inside, and you can dive or cut down and try and go underneath them. And then if you hit that, I'm pretty sure you can quad into this section and then double out. So I'd be very, very interested to see what line ends up being the one that people end up going for. So can we get that? Or not quite. I couldn't get the power down to the ground. The back wheel's spinning up a bit. So worst case scenario, you're going to want to go triple, which I think is still going to be better than going double, triple, single is probably the alternative line. If you go inside there, we've got this nice little double into this inside. Then, of course, you can only go double around the corner. You can kind of open up this turn and go around the outside 90 if you want. That's something that I've noticed Aiden does quite a lot on these tracks, is he actually gives you a reason to use the 90-degree berms. Can't say that that's the case on every Supercross track in the game. A lot of the time you're better off missing it out and kind of flat tracking and apexing the inside like I did there. But Aiden does a really good job of just opening up many variables, and I think that's the joy of having these fantasy tracks where they don't follow a real-life layout. After this loop section, big quad, can then quad again, or stretch it out. I didn't quite downside the first quad nicely enough there into the corner. You can then either double into this section, step over, triple, single, or you can triple in and then hit a quad and double on your way out. Little floaty Supercross triple here. We've got, this corner here is actually very wide. If you look from FXR banner underneath my face cam to FXR bow, sorry, to the outside, there's a lot of room here. So if you are a Levi Kitchen fan, or you're a fan of Deegan's Las Vegas antics, there could be a very nice inside manoeuvre here that you could try and park someone and maybe put them off the track. So again, from the commentary booth, I'll keep my eye on that. This is pretty much going to be a straight line here and then kind of dive and join onto this outside. I don't see many passes happening in that corner unless somebody just leaves the brakes off late. And then we come back to this weird and wonderful one. Can I qualify, try and carry a bit more speed? Yeah, there we go. You gotta, it's almost like you hit not an oppo as such, but you kind of let the bike fade away in the air when you try and hit some of these bigger seat bounces. You have to take off at a slight diagonal. Ends up working quite well. If I go outside, can I go triple? Yeah, triple, single, but that kind of sets you up poorly for this next corner. So maybe the inside line would be better, and then you could go outside and kind of triple your way through the rhythm. It's nice you haven't got a single into the corner at all. Can we step over? Oh, we can step over that. Okay, I will call that a quad in. Some people will say it's a triple. It's that lifelong debate of whether adding a tabletop in there counts as one jump or two. I see it as two because there's two different possibilities to land there. You could either triple onto the top of it, or you can quad over the other end. That is my opinion on that. Big quad after the whoops. Hung the back end up again. Something that's going to be quite make or break for this section here and getting that quad consistently is going to be how your suspension? What? I didn't... What was that accent? Where did that come from? Is if your suspension is set up well for the whoops. Because if you can get a lot of whoop speed, it'll make that quad 10 times easier. If your bike's skipping around underneath you, or if you're getting into the whoops too much rather than skimming across the top of them, then you're going to struggle quite a lot in there. So that's one part of the track where you're probably going to gain or lose a lot of time on a lap-by-lap basis. One thing that I'm hoping for in the stream tonight is we get a similar sort of turnout as we did before we took the break. Now, I hope that people aren't over racing this year. I mean, yesterday, so Saturday, was it 27th, there was the MX Bikes of Nations qualifiers. It wasn't live streamed because all of the races were going on at the same time. There was no staggering at all or anything like that. But for the actual event, I will be in the booth with Mr. Narvo, the man with the golden voice himself, which I'm very excited about. And I don't even know who's qualified yet. I don't know who's in for what countries. I haven't seen a list of results. I don't know what countries are going to the LCQs. But people have been practicing their outdoors a little bit since the last round of SMX finished. So now they're going to go from the outdoors back inside and outside of the stadium. And I wonder if we'll get a similar turnout as we did before the break, or if people will be over it at this point. Because I think the last round that we had, round 5, was some really, really solid racing. It was the most stacked race that we've had so far in this series. And it really, really does make commentating so much more enjoyable when you've got constant battles going on the track. And I'm sure from your guys' perspective, it's more entertaining to watch seeing constant battles rather than any follow the leader stuff. So feel free to stop by later on today, whenever, hopefully you see this as it comes out. I'm experimenting with different upload time. I used to upload at 8 AM my time, and now I'm going to try and experiment with midday a little bit, because for me it's midday. For a lot of the rest of Europe, it's about 1 PM, so maybe people are on their lunch break, etc., or they can just watch it when they get home from school or work. And then for America, Eastern time, I believe, I think you're like 5 hours behind me right now, so that would work out at about 7. So maybe some of you are just like waking up and getting ready for your day and need something to put on as background noise. And I'm gonna experiment with that for a while and see how it goes. And so far, it seems to be having a positive impact on video performance, which I'm very, very grateful for. So thank you to each and every one of you that still make me part of your lives as and when I upload. I know it's been a bit lackluster at the moment. I apologise. I don't even know OCD is the right word, but I get very addicted to things that don't matter. So at the moment, I'm trying to just focus on like food and exercise. And I'll be honest, I have been kind of grinding the Call of Duty Warzone camo before the next COD comes out as well, and my mind has just been completely off video. So hopefully I can snap out of that sometime soon. But that'll do it for me. That's enough waffling for one night. Hopefully me wobbling. Now I think I've crashed a lot, and I've cased a lot of rhythm sections here. But I think that goes to show that this is quite a tricky track, but there's people much more talented than I that will be competing in this late tonight. I'm looking at people like Cam, like Rax, like Tyler, and so many more. So hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you all later tonight for the stream. Hopefully you can stop by and say hello. And to anybody competing tonight, feel free to watch this video many times, not only to boost my views and money that finds its way into my pocket at the end of the month, but also for your own benefit, to try and study all the lines before the track even comes out. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.